After just 3 rounds of play, we are already guaranteed a new first-time Wimbledon Ladies Champion, meaning we'll have 9 different winners from the past 9 Wimbledon. Right now, it's looking like we could have our long-awaited Sabatek, Iga Swiatek, and Aryna Sabalenka slam final, but a few challengers stand in the way of that happening. I'll share who I think are the biggest threats to that Sabalenka Wimbledon final and preview the upcoming round of 16 matchups, especially on the men's side. Hello, my name's Christian Bass Knight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe. This is awful. This was my worst one yet. But anyways, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post new content. So yes, we are guaranteed a new Wimbledon Women's Champion, and part of that is due to Clara Tauson, the 23rd seed, defeated Elena Rybakina today in the 3rd round, 7-6, 6-3. And this was a very, very tight match, even tighter than what the scoreline entailed. And the scoreline is pretty tight because there was only one single break that decided this match, and that was when Tauson broke Rybakina in Elena's first service game of the 2nd set. And Rybakina definitely had her chances to win this one. She had 2 set points at 5-4 on Clara's serve, but she kind of wasn't able to bring that moxie. It was definitely a winnable set for her, but she wasn't able to cash in. And the difference maker really to me in the end was Tauson's serve. Just she was the better server, and that's quite something because for a good period, I'd say, for like maybe a good solid year or two, Rybakina was considered to have the best serve on tour, but now we can't see that anymore because Clara, even aside from today, because Rybakina did out-ace her, but first of all, Clara served better than her in pretty much every department. You know, she made 14% more first serves in. Clara also won 6% more first serve points and 6% more second serve points. But aside from that, Clara right now is the current ace leader on tour, and she also is the 2nd woman in history, according to Tennis Channel, to have not had their serve broken on grass against Rybakina. Again, I gotta give full credit to Tauson. She played a great match, and this was a tough draw for Rybakina. Gonna put that out there, but still, you cannot deny that Elena has lost her edge. I feel like maybe her in 2021, I think her in maybe 2023, 2024 would have won this match, but now she's not as confident in these tight big match moments, and that's ultimately why she wasn't able to capitalize. I really do think we need to have a serious discussion about whether she's like mentally cooked. The one saving grace for her is that title that she did win in Strasbourg ahead of Roland Garros, but I even tweeted this. I feel like she's low-key in a similar situation with Naomi Osaka as far as the game is not bad, the game is still at a decent level, but she's not able to get that one big standout strong result. Like, it's still missing. Again, I keep talking about that loss to Iga at Roland Garros where she should have won, and then in Berlin against Sabalenka. If she had won either of those matches, I think she would have fared better today. I'm not saying she would have won, but she could have at least won a set, because I do think a lot of it was mental, because some of the shot making decisions we saw out there from her were really baffling. But anywho, I'm curious to hear what y'all think. Do you think that Rybakina still has what it takes to win a slam? Not still has what it takes, but do you think that she will win that 2nd slam? Because right now, I'm really not so sure. Rybakina's exit opens up the draw for Iga for sure, as Iga is now the only slam champion remaining in the bottom half of the draw. Swiatek looked very strong in her 6-2, 6-3 win against Danielle Collins, and this was revenge for Iga as Danielle defeated her in the Rome, I believe, round of 16, 6-1, 7-5. This was a very clean performance from Iga, and she finished with 15 winners to 10 unforced errors. It was just very clean and compact compared to Collins. Danielle was definitely more error prone and hit fewer winners. The American finished with 11 winners to 25 unforced errors. I have been very impressed throughout this tournament, but especially this last match, with Iga's forehand and how well it's held up, because we all know that that's the side that breaks down under pressure. And I was looking at this match to be a big test because Collins hits big, and this is grass, so even more time is taken away from Swiatek, but she was able to handle Collins' pace very well. Now, I do think that Clara Tauson will be another big test of Iga's forehand stability, and I expect Clara to be Iga's biggest test that she will face thus far. As compared to Collins, I think at least right now, Clara is overall more solid and more consistent than Danielle is. Really, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Tauson got the upset win. I wouldn't really even consider it an upset over Swiatek. I can feel it a little bit. I don't know. These two have only played twice, and their last meeting was all the way back in 2022 during Iga's like peak period. So with this being on grass, where I think Tauson really enjoys, I low-key could see an upset. I don't know. It's something in me I'm just feeling. Maybe it just could be gas or something. I don't know. But I don't know if I'm gonna go out on the limb and say that Tauson will do it, but I'm just saying all this to say don't be shocked if it happens. But regardless, I still think this will be a huge opportunity for Iga to make her maiden semifinal here at SW19, as if she were to win, she would get the winner of Ludmila Samsonova or Jessica Bucas-Minero. I mean, granted, both those players have been playing well. Samsonova would definitely pose the greater threat to Swiatek in my opinion, but the Russian does have question marks surrounding her nerve, and this would be her first slam quarterfinal if she were to progress, and I would favor Iga in that hypothetical matchup. Now, overall, I think that Mira Andreeva poses the biggest threat to Swiatek, at least in the bottom half. Mira's coming off a solid 6-1, 6-3 win over American Haley Baptiste. That match, it was more competitive than what the scoreline entailed. Haley, I think she had more chances to test Mira more, but overall, I think just it came down to consistency, and Mira was just much more consistent. Andreeva next plays Emma Navarro, another American, who defeated the defending women's champion, Barbora Krejcikova, 2-6, 6-3, 6-4. And Navarro did well to win this match because Krejcikova was all on top of her for the first set and a half. She led Navarro by a set and a break, but Emma did well to cut down on her unforced errors tremendously. I believe she only finished with 11 unforced errors by the time the match was over, whereas Krejcikova, I believe she hit about 50+ unforced errors to 34 winners, so it wasn't the best performance from her, but she was the one kind of dictating the proceedings out there. And a lot of this match did come down to Krejcikova waning physically, as she had to kind of stop, get a medical timeout, and she got her blood pressure checked, and she was like falling all over in the back and crying. So definitely tough scenes, tough to see her like that. She will now fall outside the top 70 as well, but I do think that she'll be back. Someone said that she's like the Adele of the women's tour, like she'll pop up and do a big one every once in a while. Don't know if that big one will come this season, but keep your eyes peeled at least in the next like 6 to 12 months for Krejcikova to maybe win another slam. Focusing on Andreeva Navarro and previewing that one, I picked these two to come through and play each other before the tournament even started, and I sided with Mira because it was mainly due to their lone match in Cincinnati in 2024, and Mira won that, I believe, 2-2. I think it could be a matchup issue for Navarro. Sometimes she can have her moments, Emma, of just like being out of it, like we saw at the Roland Garros championships this year against Bucas-Minero. So wouldn't be surprised, totally surprised if Mira kind of dominated that one. The winner of Andreeva Navarro would face the winner of Alexandrova and Bencic. Ekaterina Alexandrova, she ended the beautiful run of Zeynep Sonmez. She was the first Turkish woman to make a slam third round. Sonmez put up a good fight, but it was Alexandrova who was too solid in the end and won that 6-3, 7-6. Ekaterina will be playing for her maiden slam quarterfinal, and that's going to be a big test for her, especially coming up against someone who is experienced in Belinda Bencic. Although Bencic, she hasn't made a slam quarterfinal in a minute, maybe not since the 2019 US Open, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be a big match for both those women. Now going up and talking about the top half of the draw, because I missed my day 5 recap video, Aryna Sabalenka, I think, would be the huge favorite to make the finals after round 3 play. Talking about her third round win, 7-6, 6-4 win over Emma Raducanu in about 2 hours, it was an impressive match. And it was a thrilling match too. I said this could be Sabalenka's like Serena Watson 2015 type of moment, and it wasn't quite as intense, but it definitely had its moments. It was still a very competitive match, and Raducanu definitely had a chance to at least get on the board and win a set. She had chances, good chances in both sets. In the first set, she had the first break and led 4-2, and she also had a set point in the tiebreaker, but Aryna just has this capability of bringing her best when she really needs it in a tiebreaker, and she's now 15-1 in tiebreakers in 2025, which is just unreal, very Djokovic-like. And it was kind of giving Roland Garros finals vibes, where Sabalenka had a lead in the first set, fumbled it, but then recovered to win it in a tiebreaker before the opponent kind of dominated in the second set. It looked like Raducanu was on her way to dominating. She was a point away from the double break. She also had 2 game points the following game at 4-2, but Sabalenka, she came up with the goods when she needed to, and I think it came down to Emma not having as much experience beating these top players, but Sabalenka obviously does. And one thing about Sabalenka, she really will give you a show. I think she is the most entertaining women's player on tour for sure, as far as like, she'll just give you a spectacle. I think she's just born to entertain, because I mean, that first set alone was so crazy, all the way from fumbling those set points to being down a set point. Like, that was just absolute madness. But anyways, I knew that Emma could pose problems for Sabalenka, especially with grass being her best surface. So she also was just able to hang around with Sabalenka from the ground, and I was very impressed by the Brit's serving, her movement, and her variety. And it really just, this match showed why she is a slam champion. And I think that now she's been healthy for most of the year. This is good. I feel like she's building towards something, and I think that she should be at least seeded by the time of the US Open. And I think bare minimum, or I don't know if I'll say bare minimum, but she shows that she can be a consistent top 20 player if she keeps playing like this. She has the game. On the topic of Raducanu, I want to talk about this really cringe press conference moment. Some guy in the press straight up asked Brit Cam Norrie if he was dating Emma Raducanu. Like, just listen to this.
Apart from everyone here loving tennis, some of the gossip has been about who Emma Raducanu's dating. Can I ask if you're dating her? Can we get to the bottom of this, please?
Sorry?
We're trying to find out who's dating Emma Raducanu, and it seems to be going around all the men's singles.
Oh,
so
yeah?
I was wondering if you're dating her, please.
Oh, I'm not, no. You can ask her, though. You can ask her if she's, I don't know.
I don't know what's gotten into not only the fans, but the press and the media, because they've really been feeding into this Raducanu Alcaraz stuff heavy. Even the official Wimbledon like tournament YouTube account, when they posted Emma's pre-tournament press conference, they titled the video, Emma Raducanu addresses the Alcaraz rumors. Like, it's really, I don't know. I think, to me, they're not dating, and if they are, okay, but I just really don't think they're dating at all. But that's my statement on the matter. The point being is that that's such a wild thing to straight up ask someone. Like, how are these people being invited? And I'm here. Like, it's okay. I'm not gonna hate. I'm gonna be there next year. But moving on, Sabalenka, up next for her is her former doubles partner, Elisa Mertens. She defeated Elena Svitolina 6-1, 7-6 in the third round, and she is trying to break the title curse of a woman not being able to win Wimbledon after winning a Wimbledon warm-up tournament or grass lead-up tournament. That has been done, I believe, since Maria Sharapova in 2004. Now, the head-to-head is 10-2 in Sabalenka's favor, and they've already played twice this year, which Sabalenka won both those matches. And Mertens' last win over Aryna was all the way back in 2019. And also, there's a lot on the line for Mertens, as well as, like, she's going to be trying to get over the hump and make a Wimbledon quarterfinal after falling 3 times in this fourth round stage before. Not to mention, Mertens hasn't made a slam quarterfinal period since the 2020 US Open. So I think with that and just Sabalenka seemingly enjoying this matchup more, I'd favor her to get this one done in straight sets. Now, if Sabalenka does win, she will be the huge favorite to at least make the semifinals, as she would face the winner of Solana Sierra and Laura Siegemund. Siegemund, she stunned the 6th seed Madison Keys 6-3, 6-3. And to be honest, I wasn't totally shocked by the fact that Keys lost, because I even said in my last video that Siegemund has what it takes to trouble the big hitters. She pushed Rybakina to 3 sets last year at Wimbledon, and she can be very dangerous on the grass. But for Keys to get beat 6-3, 6-3, when I saw that scoreline, I was extremely shocked. And baseball Keys, she came up and showed out, but not in a good way. So yeah, that was that. That was really shocking, and a lot of people were looking at Keys to be the biggest threat to Sabalenka, like, period, top half or not. So that definitely opens up the draw for Aryna. But although I think that she still needs to watch out for Siegemund, because that German woman, she can really cause some problems. And she not only beat Keys here, but she did beat Young at the Australian Open second round. So beware Sabalenka. But we also got to talk about Siegemund's opponent, Solana Sierra. She made history as the first lucky loser in history to make the Wimbledon women's round of 16. So props to her for that. It's wild how good Sierra's draw has been, as she would not have to face a seed at least until the quarterfinals. She beat some, like, low, I'm not gonna say low name players, but some, I guess, Kayas, to put it kindly, beat Olivia Gadecki in the first round, Katie Bolter in the second round, and then Christina Buxa in the third round. So, I mean, hey, I don't hate the play, I hate the game. I think that in this top half, Amanda Anisimova will be Sabalenka's biggest threat probably. I think Amanda still holds a positive head-to-head record over the Belarusian, although Anisimova's fourth-round opponent, Linda Noskova, will have something to say about that because the Czech woman is very, very solid, especially on grass. Now, rounding out the women's coverage, I do want to talk about Naomi Osaka, of course. She had a big opportunity, I feel, to finally make a slam fourth round for the first time since winning the 2021 Australian Open, but it was not in the cards for her. She fell to Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova 3-6, 6-4, 6-4 in the third round. I did not watch the match live, but when I woke up and saw the scoreline, I immediately kind of checked Twitter, and I saw a lot of people saying, oh, Naomi fumbled another match she should have won. So I was kind of, when I went back to watch the match in full, I was expecting her to like actually fumble. Yeah, you can say she fumbled a bit, but I don't think she choked. I think that, like, just breaking down the match, first of all, Naomi, she started very strong. She was more consistent than Pavlyuchenkova. Pavlyuchenkova started the match out a bit poor, but she started finding her range a little bit more towards the end of the first set, but Naomi was still too strong. In the second set, Pavlyuchenkova came out like in really good form, and Osaka wasn't able to match it until midway through the second set, where she was able to take advantage of Pavlyuchenkova's level dipping, and that's when Naomi did have a strong shot at actually winning this match like 6-3, 6-4, as she had 2 break points at like 4-all, 15-40, but Pavlyuchenkova, giving credit to her, I believe she hit like 2 unreturnable serves. It's really nothing more you can do about that. And Naomi wasn't that bad to end the set, but Pavs was just really too solid, and Naomi wasn't able to match Anastasia's intensity. Now, Osaka did start to crumble early on, as far as her serve did, in the third set, and that's why she went down 3-love. I think that if I'm being hypercritical, she put herself in a bad position being down that deficit, but despite the deficit, she was able to claw her way back and level the match at 3-all, and there is when she had 2 additional break points to kind of put the lead in her favor to go up 4-3. But again, nothing that she could have done. Pavlyuchenkova hit an ace and then also made a backhand winner on the second break point opportunity for Osaka. I feel like the only really real criticism I have for Naomi is during the final few games, she kind of just kept trying to out-hit Pavlyuchenkova, and it wasn't working. Pavs was just too solid, and she was also smart, Anastasia was, to continue to try to pressure Naomi hard and up the middle, especially exploiting that forehand wing of the Japanese woman. And that shot, that forehand of Osaka's, really let her down bad in this match. I feel like if she was more steady and solid on the forehand, she could have had a really solid shot at winning this match. This undoubtedly was a missed opportunity for Naomi as far as her draw in her section, especially considering how she's unseeded and she wouldn't have to face, I believe, a seeded player at least until the quarterfinals. You can't get a much better draw than that. And if she were to win, if she were to had beaten Pavlyuchenkova, she would have played 51st ranked Sone Kartal. Granted, Kartal has had a good run this tournament. She beat Ostapenko in the first round, but still a very beatable opponent, you have to say. And that's no disrespect to Vibes Kartal, as her nickname is called. Credit to Shank on Twitter. But anywho, this loss, it kind of reminded me a lot of Naomi's Miami Open fourth round loss to Jasmine Paolini. Sort of a similar scoreline, if I'm not mistaken. But the theme is just really, again, so close but so far, and she just isn't able to elevate her level in the end to get the big win. She can elevate her level somewhat against these lower ranked players, but against a top player or against a player at a big stage, she just cannot bring herself to do it. And again, it's questions about how much more can Naomi take mentally of this repeated cycle of disappointing result after disappointing result, coming so close yet so far. And I feel like she is so close because she looked so fit. She was running to a lot of balls that she normally wouldn't have gotten to. I feel like she actually might be in her best shape ever, arguably. So I think that she can win these big matches, but she just needs to do it. I don't know how else better to say that. I think U.S. Open swing might be Naomi's last chance for real, because she did talk earlier in the season about maybe hanging it up if she's not getting the results that she wants. Praying, at least for her sake, that she does better for the U.S. Open swing. I think she can. We all know hard courts fare better for her. But Naomi did say, though, that last year she put more pressure on herself because there was greater expectation for her to do more because hard courts are her forte. So that's another aspect to consider. But I want to also talk about her post-match press conference after the Pavlyuchenkova loss. She said, "I feel like I could say I'm going to be a negative human being today. I'm so sorry. I have nothing positive to say about myself, which is something I'm working on. I mean, it was my daughter's birthday this week, so I was happy about that. Other than that, it's just today I'm constantly replaying the match now." Yeah, again, definitely a missed opportunity with Kartal next. And then Noskova and Anisimova. Again, those two are tough. Not saying Naomi would have beaten either Noskova or Anisimova, but I think her even beating Pavlyuchenkova, say somehow Vibes Kartal beats Osaka, but her getting over the hump of actually making a slam second week for the first time in 4 years, that's huge. And she still hasn't done it. So it's going to be more and more scar tissue for her to overcome for next time. So we'll see if she actually overcomes it. Now, talking about the men's, it's kind of opposite from the women's draw because the top half of the men's draw is definitely much more tough than the bottom half. Talking about the upcoming round of 16 matches, you have Jannik Sinner against Grigor Dimitrov. Jannik, he has lost just 17 games coming into the fourth round, and that ties Jan Kodes from 1972 as the fewest games lost by a man en route to the Wimbledon fourth round in open-air history. Dimitrov, meanwhile, he claimed his 100th slam win. He defeated Sebastian Offner in straight sets. Sinner will be the huge favorite, I feel, in this match, even though Grigor is very accomplished. He leads the Bulgarian 4-1 in the head-to-head, and Jannik has also won their last 4 meetings. However, they have never played on grass, so you never know, but still, I kind of see Jannik taking this one in straight sets. I feel like it would be more of a surprise if Dimitrov actually won a set. I hate to say it. Sinner Dimitrov will play the winner of Ben Shelton and Lorenzo Sonego. Shelton, he defeated Martin Fucsovics 3-6-2, and Ben has yet to drop a set these championships. Sonego, meanwhile, he is coming off the longest match of the tournament, beating American Brandon Nakashima 6-7, 7-6, 7-6, 3-6, 7-6 in 5 hours and 4 minutes. This is crazy now because Shelton and Sonego are now facing off at a slam for the 3rd straight slam this year. Crazy. And they met at the Australian Open in the quarterfinals where Ben took a 4-set win, 7-6, 7-6 in the 4th set. Then they met in the Roland Garros opening round, which Ben, he also won that one, but this one was in 5 sets. I don't expect as much of a tussle because Shelton, he'll have a lot more in the tank, having not dropped a set. Meanwhile, Sonego, again, is coming off a very grueling 5-set match. So I will favor Shelton to get his 3rd consecutive win over Sonego and make the quarterfinals. Looking down, you have Marin Cilic. He backed up that big win over Jack Draper. Got to give credit to the big guy. He defeated Jaime Munar 6-3, 3-6, 6-2, 6-4, a great win because Munar, even though he is unranked, unseeded, he is really, really tough. He's gotten some good wins. He beat Bublik here in the opening round. So, again, great to see Marin back and doing big things. That would be a really intriguing one because Kaboli will be tough for him. Flavio has yet to drop a set this tournament, joining Shelton and Sinner as the only 3 men to not drop a set en route to the round of 16 at Wimbledon this year. And he looked tremendous. Really just dominated Jakub Mędzik, which is like 6-2, 6-4, 6-2 in one of the matches of the day, most anticipated matches of the day. So to do that to Mędzik, who's a great player, like big signs of big things from the Italian. Then finally, you got Alex de Minaur taking on Novak Djokovic. Those two were to face off, or were supposed to face off in the quarterfinals here at Wimbledon last year, but de Minaur injured himself during his 4th round against Artur Fils, again from last year. Alex has looked solid this tournament. He has only dropped 1 set thus far, and he recently ended the run of Danish qualifier August Holmgren in straight sets. I think, though, that the 4th round would be the end of the road for the Aussie because Novak is just looking way too good this tournament. He just beat his compatriot like he stole something, Kecmanovic, only dropping 7 games, and that clinched his 100th win at Wimbledon, and he's now the 2nd man ever to win 100 matches at SW19, which, like after Roger Federer, he has the most with 105, and he also joins Federer in another aspect of being the 2nd man ever to win 100 career matches at 2 Grand Slam events. Again, Federer, he finished his career with 102 wins at the Australian Open. Now, addressing the bottom half of the draw, by far the most interesting match is between Carlos Alcaraz and Andrey Rublev. I honestly can see Rublev doing his big one here. I know that might seem crazy, but I just have a feeling that he could. I don't know. I don't think it'll be a routing like Sinner gave him in his last slam round of 16 at Roland Garros. I think that obviously Alcaraz, he isn't as methodical and as ruthless as Yannick. And I think with it being grass, yes, Carlos is currently the king of grass right now, but Rublev has a lot of firepower. And I think that he can exploit Carlos. Carlos, he's been okay, solid this tournament, but he hasn't shown his best tennis. He hasn't really had to show his best tennis, but this would be a big test. So I ultimately will have Alcaraz winning this one, but I'm saying all this to say wouldn't be surprised if Rublev did beat the Spaniard here. Then you also have the winner of this one facing off against the winner of Nicolas Jarry and Cameron Norrie. Nico has gotten some great wins this tournament. He beat two talented young players in Iga Aryna and Joao Fonseca. Norrie, meanwhile, he took down Francis Tiafoe in the second round. So good to see him back and healthy and doing big things. Of course, Norrie will be the home crowd's favorite. So I think I might actually favor Cam here to win this one and make the quarterfinals. Then you have a rather interesting fourth round between 17th seed Karen Khachanov, who's it's not really a surprise, it's that big of a surprise to see him here. He made the quarterfinals years ago here at SW19, but we did not expect to see Kamil Majchak here, the Polishman. He is ranked 109th in the world. He's also 29 years old, but great to see him go on this run. We always love to see these runs. I feel like nobody has really been talking about him at all. Kamil, he defeated Matteo Berrettini, finalist from 2021, in 5 sets in the opening round, but he hasn't dropped a set since then. So I don't know. He could do his big one and actually get the upset, as he would think he'd have more in the tank, considering how Khachanov is coming off a really tough and grueling 5-set win over Nuno Borges. And then the last fourth round match for me to address is between Taylor Fritz and Jordan Thompson. Thompson, he is into his third career major fourth round. This is his first fourth round at a major outside of the US Open. Fritz will be the heavy favorite for this one. I mean, I guess rightfully so. But Thompson, you can't count him out because Jordan actually won their lone meeting on the grass, and that was just last year at Queens and in straight sets. So, I mean, I don't see it happening, but maybe crazier things have happened, so you don't know. Still, from judging from the draw, I think really all signs point to a potential Fritz-Alcaraz semifinal, and I think the biggest foil to this all will be Andrey Rublev. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. That is all I have for my Wimbledon third round recap video. Let me know in the comments what you think about all the action and whether you think that we will finally get our Sabatek Slam final. And if not, who do you think would be the woman to take out either Iga, Aryna, or both these ladies? Also, it's looking like we will have a semifinal lineup between Sinner, Djokovic, and then Fritz Alcaraz. Let me know if you think we'll threaten that, and if you think that the likes of Rublev, Dimitrov, de Minaur have a chance at doing their big ones in the fourth round against these three great players and the three biggest title contenders. Again, make sure y'all subscribe and click that notification bell so you are notified whenever I post my fourth round recap video. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I will see y'all next time here on Christian's Court.